coming to our turntable discussion about local music scene. We had invited a number of people. We had put out invitations to all the local, the big heavy hitters of all the major booking companies, and as well as some radio personalities. And we had a large group of people signed on to be here. This is, we made it. It is Super Bowl Sunday. It is the day after a major ice storm. So I just want to thank you for. And we even have one that came from Puerto Rico. So I want to thank you. And I'm Becca, aka Athena. I own Athena Music Media, and I'm also the president of the Philly Bands Local 191, which is a local volunteer organization in Philly. We've been around for about 4 years, strictly just to improve the local music scene through volunteer efforts. We don't work on money. We don't have a bank tax ID number. We don't have a bank account. We do not take any cash for anything. I just wanted to let that be clear that the 191 is not a union. People think that the 191 means it's a local union. I wish to God we did have a union for original music groups where there would be some sort of accountability in terms of our local scene, but we don't right now. So 191 is actually, if you look at the zip code for Philadelphia, all the Philadelphia zip codes start with 191, so that's where we got the number. But I want to make it clear that everybody here is from what we call the local area. We've got representatives here from Harrisburg, which is a western end of where we're from, plus New Jersey, and we even have Delaware. You still live in Delaware, right? No, we got Delaware represented, and Philadelphia as well. There may be people coming in late because we are expecting a few other people. And in our group today, we've got business owners, we've got booking agents, we've got promoters, we've got musicians, we've got studio owners, and a little bit of everything here today. And what we're going to do is we're just going to try to have a discussion about local music. We're videotaping this if we can, so we're going to be making a DVD documentary as part of a documentary that we're putting together to strengthen the local original music scene it's Philadelphia, up northward to New York City. We go west down to Baltimore.
Tri-state area.
Thank you, tri-state area. But you can be from fucking Baltimore, right? Where's that? You can be from Maryland. You can be from fucking Maryland.
Yeah, fucking Maryland.
That's always been a joke. So anyway, I would like to just go around. We're going to just do this in segments. We'll break in between segments for smoke and whatever. And we've got entertainment by Machines of Penalty, everybody's favorite band.
Yeah.
And who I want to thank them, Machines of Penalty, for giving their studio time, which is this is regularly the time they use the studio for practice. So giving us their studio hours. We are here at Audio Alley and Mike McDevitt, owner. Thank you very much.
What's up?
And who else do we have to thank? Well, we got Derek on camera. We've got Dave over there using another camera. And again, Machines of Penalty is going to perform for us.
No, we got 3 other bass players here.
I'd like to go around the room and everybody just introduce themselves. If you're, from a booking company, where you book out of, or in the area that you're out of, who you are, what business you're from, or what band. If you're from a band, I guess there's genre. If at least sort of what you perceive yourself to be, and also the area that you're from. So we'll start with Mike.
What would you like me to say here?
Your name. And
I'm Mike McDevitt. I own the studio here you're at.
And we are in what town?
We're in Pitney, New Jersey.
Audio Alley, baby.
Audio Alley. And I thank everybody for coming today.
You're most welcome.
We really don't yet. I kind of steer away from that anymore. It's all word of mouth mostly if people come here. And it makes it better that way. People stay.
Or try to.
Next.
Yeah.
We'll get back to me.
How you doing? I'm Bob from Power Theory. We're a Philadelphia area-based true metal band.
True metal.
What's happening?
Dave from Flesh Engine, South Philly, metal.
I'm Joelle Miller with Black Cube Booking out of the Harrisburg area. Genre goes from horrorcore, psychopathic, whoop, whoop, down to gothic industrial.
I'm Lovey Crazy, and my band is the National Goth Party. We're known as a political goth movement band. I'm one of the owners of Crazy Cosmetics. I am also the event promoter for the Nocturnal Witches Ball. And I'm soon to be doing the Lovey and Enya show with Athena Music Media. And any of you bands want to get on there so that we can just pump you out there, that would be great.
Awesome.
I'm Michael from Infernal Opera. I live in Delaware, but we're basically based out of Lehigh Valley, moving into the Philadelphia area, and we're pretty much a power metal band. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for the invite.
I'm Adrian from Hellraiser Music Group. We do pretty much the Delaware County, Philadelphia area, music promotion, merchandise, anything a band needs.
I'm Mike from Machines of Penley, and I'm also here representing Deathswitch Records.
Which I also want to cut in and say thank you for being the producers of the show. Deathswitch, this is being brought to you by Deathswitch Records.
Thank you so much.
Bravo.
Thank you.
I'm Jason from Machines of Penalty. I play drums for him. We're hard rock metal.
I'm Brad from Machines of Penalty. I play guitar. I'm also representing Deathswitch Records.
I'm Kevin, or KMX, the name, I don't really care. I'm also with the Indie 191 Live and Live at the Nail radio show. So we'll be doing right after this. And of course the KMX band, Philadelphia-based comedy, true metal.
Comedy.
Oh yes.
Athena Music Media and the 191 Live show with 191 Global Teleradio.
Flip that camera. Flip that camera. Look at you.
And Kevin's going to be a
Yeah.
That's right.
Hi,
All right. Hey, I'm MCDS from the Indie 191 Live show. I'm also in Cromwell Incident, Righteous Anger, and Bloodstone. And I'm here to represent the 191.
Cameraman, camera shy.
I guess we'll open it up with I guess what the local music scene, the state of it right now. Anybody want to open up the discussion?
Anybody?
Sure. Well, the biggest thing we're running into right now is lack of venues.
Lack of venue.
Cherrywood's shutting down. Penance left, we're hearing. Dave Cherry, who's supposed to be here a little later, hopefully can talk to us about that a little bit. But there's not many spots left in this area for original bands. A lot of cover bands, but nothing for the originals.
What's happening with the Pennant?
Dave, who used to book over at Cherrywood pretty, well, he was the booking agent at Cherrywood, is supposedly moving up to the Pennant.
Cherby.
He's going to be, yeah, Dave Cherby.
Okay.
Don't know what the whole deal is there yet. Hopefully with him involved, things will get better up there. It's been, I think a few of us have played there before. It's never been a good situation.
I'm playing there next week. Is there anything I should be worried about?
I don't
Soundman's
want to
kinda
speak out
bad.
of turn. What's that?
Soundman's kind of bad.
All this stuff is going to be edited out.
Yeah,
They still have bottled beer.
yeah.
The potential of flight.
There's a lot of potential, but it's just not
I'm
much
used
else
to
out
that.
there right now. Yeah. It's a huge room. It's just in the past, it's been a little difficult to get a straight deal out of the owner of the club. And again, hopefully with Dave going in there now, things will get better.
It's an awesome stage, though.
Is he coming?
That is. He's supposed to be here late.
What's the cap of the pennant?
I'm not sure exact numbers. I figure he's 250 people.
250, it said.
Yeah.
I think
it
it's
250?
around
Yeah.
250, yeah.
So, how, like, just asking this out of, what would you say that would resolve that issue?
Um,
Like, cause you know, like everybody who's original and underground is always looking for venues, and if there are none, what would you suggest? Like I think I have a suggestion.
Open.
Like, and it comes from Dorian's Parlor. I don't know if you follow that at all, but it's run by Gil, who also does help promotes Dracula's Ball
With Digital Ferret.
or
Right,
Digital
Digital
Ferret.
Ferret.
Okay.
And what happens is they went out and decided, because they couldn't find venues, they went out and rented the DoubleTree.
And that's
Hotel.
that's a monthly
A
event.
lot of gig swapping. It's
Right.
better to stay in the lower end of the venues because I don't think a lot of bands realize how important the pulse star numbers, the reverberation numbers are. Face it, MySpace is slowly dwindling and dying.
Yeah, it's just
Slowly.
And
I haven't
Okay,
been-
and
quickly,
Facebook-
I'm trying to be nice. Slowly,
Yeah.
it's dead.
Yeah, I mean that's why.
It
I'm
is
definitely
still
ahead of
used.
mine.
It is still by used
haven't
by
been
your
on
secondary
MySpace
lower
in
end venues. They
a
will
year.
check
Years.
that.
Facebook stinks for music, but
No, great for promotion.
100
Like
emails.
for promoting, like you know, if you have a certain genre, you have a lot of people on there. Like, you know, different labels. I promote on there. And wow.
What I was trying to say.
Okay.
But my
Okay.
point
Another
is,
thing, too,
my point is, I think a lot of bands tend to the gig swapping is very, very important.
'Cause that's
as
how
far
I
as like
was
getting a band from out of town to come in and you come in and they swap with you.
Sure.
Do a lot of that. That's really, really good to get you into a
That
different
works
venue.
out great, so long as you're not ticket sales of off.
But what I was
Yeah.
trying to say
If
about
it's-
the DoubleTree is what they did was a group of people decided to go in there and talk to them, and the DoubleTree virtually gave it to them for free.
Now, Doubletree's a hotel?
It's a it's a
On
hotel
the
in the middle of
avenue,
Philly, and it's been hugely successful. Athena has been there, and she saw like what there was 300 people there.
Oh, yeah,
Easily.
they said that was
They
the
had
one.
vendors, they had all sorts of music and entertainment, and what they did was they decided to just try to do this all together and go in there and solicit a hotel that would be like open to it and say, listen, if we could use this venue like once a month on times when it's not peak, can we use this as like what they wanted to use, which was steampunk, but I'm sure you could turn it into like a metal night, you could turn it into a gothic industrial night or whatever night you want. And that kind of opens up a venue where you kind of control the whole venue.
Yeah, my buddy
Yeah, but
Adrian
Right,
has some
yeah.
experience with the hotels.
Yeah, but
Yep.
the problem with
Yeah.
that is,
Hotels can
Insurance
be
is-
good, but they can be very bad.
Yeah,
the
because of
problem
the
with that is you
insurance
get it for
is going
free
up,
for a little
you know.
while until they start
There's so
seeing a
much
crowd
liability.
there, and then they'll say, well, we can make money, and then they'll start charging. That's a problem. Venues need to make it a lot cheaper. With the way the economy is, nobody has money. So like the truck, it costs $1,200 to rent the
18.
truck, or 18 is it?
$1,800.
$1,800. If they would just lower that up, bands would rent that place and they would play there. You know, that place sits empty more than there's shows, as of late.
In my opinion, a lot of these clubs that have bands all the time should devote at least one night a week to original bands.
Yeah,
I mean, I think we all should, get together and start talking to these places, to people that have bands, even if they're cover bands.
Well, that's
I
what-
play in a cover band. We make money to play in a cover band, but we need to get the original bands out there. So, I mean, those places that are playing covers need to do like maybe one night a week.
They tend to oversaturate.
Let a band come in
they
or
tend to
two bands come
oversaturate
in and do
their area
original
as well.
stuff,
Yeah, but the only
Yeah.
problem with that, and it's like what Freddie from Dingbats once told me. He said, "Yeah, I like to have," and he's an all original club.
Right, I know.
And the biggest problem with him, he opens the doors to these original clubs, the original bands. 5 people show up who are going to go see that band. Now
Right.
he's got a whole expenses of bartenders, bar backs, people who have to work at security, the door, and so it's really like that's the reason why a lot of these.
Well,
clubs
see what these
go
places can
against
do
it.
is have a cover band that night, and in between sets have an original band come up.
Well, like switch on and off.
Yeah, but
just
there's not gonna be that many
do a
bands that
set
are gonna
or
wanna
do
play with the
3 or
cover
4
band.
songs.
Well, look,
at least
I-
get there and
Have openers.
You're 100% right, because
Openers with
I
10,
tried
20
this.
tickets,
I made
minimum.
the very same suggestion to a booker who's not here, out in the Lehigh Valley, and we did a show at in Northampton. Adrian was at that show, and my suggestion was get a tribute band, and get a local cover band involved.
Right.
And this is no bullshit. The cover band, they did rock and metal, a lot
But
of
they're going to
priest-made
draw
Dio
people
stuff.
because everybody.
They had more people there than anyone else.
Right.
Cover bands.
They had,
bad.
and there was a pre-sale. This was a not the tribute band.
Right.
This was a cover band who showed up. They had at least 32 people there.
We always have 40, 50
That's
people
the
at every
problem.
show. So if you could do that and then throw an original band in instead of us playing 4 sets, let an original band play 1 set
Right.
in the middle of our 4.
Yeah, but it's
the
gonna be
conundrum
hard to
is
find
how
a
do
band
you
to
how do
play
you
with
get
the
people?
cover band. That's the thing. A lot of bands
no,
don't want to play with cover bands.
Yeah, especially if there's an agency involved.
And
say,
if they're going to be showed up, too. A lot of bands don't want to come in and say,
Listen.
"Oh, we just got beat out by a cover band." I mean, I'm not saying playing with a cover band's bad, but I can see their standpoint.
Well, they're not being shown up because it's totally different, dude.
Well, I mean,
You're
aside from the
playing
fact that
cover
you got
music.
to
You
get
listen
over
to
it.
that on a CD.
You want to play or not? You know.
You know what I mean?
well, I think that a lot of times too, though, what it is.
You
is
just need to
really
get
the
out
work
there. Nobody's letting you.
of the original
And
band
if
to
somebody
really
would let
promote
you do
themselves.
one set,
I mean, if 10 people are going to
Once
show
a
up at a
week.
place, nobody's going to want that band.
Roche is difficult. I mean, the other thing what we're doing, I mean, if you have a major act touring once every 2 years, they put a record out, they're going to play the big Monster Center, whatever it is.
But you
Sure.
all can play that.
Iron Maiden is a good example.
That's
I'll go
right.
see them every
just
time
it.
they
This
tour
is
every
the
2
stats.
years. All of a sudden they start showing up there every weekend. We'll miss a couple gigs.
right.
You know
That's
what I
why
mean?
Exactly.
it oversaturates your area,
Yeah.
and that doesn't help. You play in bigger venues, software that lowers your stats. It's all the stock
Now,
market. It's
we
all
had an
money. It's all a
offer-
numbers game.
Exactly.
To go out your way, and the problem we ran into there was, I think it was a Crocodile Rock, actually.
Allentown.
Huh?
Yeah.
Well,
Are we editing?
Big Joe. Oh, you don't even want me to get started.
Don't be giving me
Yeah,
that.
well,
Well, the offer was
Tom
we could
loves
go out
me.
there
Took
on a
me 3
Tuesday
years,
night, you
but-
had to sell 50 tickets.
Right.
My band just had to sell
50
100.
tickets too.
They had a throw, but
Well,
a
we're
$3,000
from South
buyout.
Jersey. I'm not going to sell 50 tickets in the Allentown Alley on a
2,000.
Tuesday night. I mean,
Yes.
Well, that's a
So,
whole, that's a
You
whole
wouldn't sell
other,
that much on a
Yeah.
Saturday.
that's a whole nother
Yeah.
topic of conversation. Why don't we hold that one? We'll have a conversation about the ticket
Can I
sales for the
answer that?
national shows.
That's what she was saying, was swap bands. Like one band is really good in one
Contracts.
area,
Contracts.
and then
Contracts.
your band is good in another area, and you agree to let that band play.
The
at your
problem
band.
is that is the unity factor.
well, it's the bands. I think Silas would do that with us in a heartbeat. Those are
Absolutely.
real good guys. The problem is it ain't their decision to make. It's the promoters and the owners who sit there and say, no, if this band's playing, they're going to sell 50 tickets. So on the same hand, how is Silas going to sell 50 tickets down here in South Jersey?
Right.
They're not. They're a great band, you know. But again, the scene just lacks. There's not a lot of support for it.
Yeah, the whole theory
People
is
are
that
lazy.
if you get the band out here, when people see them play, they'll come back next time they're here.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing is that even the bands that are already here are just pulling numbers in. I used to say, you know, if you can't pull 20 people in to see your band, you shouldn't be on the stage.
That's why I get openers.
But I
you know?
mean, we look at
Openers
Cherrywood
help
with
sell
Machines
it.
of Penalty play there. I mean, you guys would pack the place every time. And whenever shows I've booked there, I'll book Power Theory in to play with Machines of Penalty because I know Machines of Penalty will pull the numbers in who will see Power Theory and then
And
Power
come
Theory
to
will
see Power Theory the next
weekend.
We got more
Exactly.
people sign up on our mailing list that show that we did
Yeah,
over there that
see,
night than
so
we
that,
have
the
anywhere
theory,
else.
the theory
So
behind
That's how
that,
you got to do it.
the theory behind that show is to take a club like the Cherrywood, you take their house band, Machines of Penalty, booked up, and then I booked 3 of my bands with that, knowing that the numbers would already be there from Machines of Penalty, and they get to see my 3 bands, which were Power Theory, who else played Betrayus,
And
and
that was a
What
badass
was it?
night.
There was-
Sinister Road?
and Sinister, no,
No,
and Cypress Seer. Was Cypress
I'm
Seer?
going to curse on the thing.
Who was
Fuck
it?
those guys.
I gotta talk to you about that afterwards.
Well, was this the night after we got
Do I
So
get to keep the number?
I took the club
Say that
and
to when we're not filming.
we took the house band who drew the numbers, which was Machines of Penalty. Third Wire, it was Third Wire, it was
Yeah,
Power
Third
Theory and Betrayus.
Betrayus.
And you said from that show you got more people on
Sign
your
up for the
line.
mailing list from
Just-
from
Well,
right your
Well,
name.
yeah.
Well, honestly, our crowd.
Always
I
had
mean,
me.
that was our hometown, so
For-
we usually
for
do
3
very
years,
well.
yeah.
Great, we
And what's the
appreciate it
cover?
because it's
What's the
like.
cover?
It was
What
$5.
cover there is $5.
$5.
Yeah.
What's the
You know, and
pre-sale?
that's how we got to do
There's
it.
no
pre-sale.
pre-sale.
But if
Bam.
I might add
$5
one thing-
cover, no pre-sale, good band, people show up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now
Yeah.
take the other. Now take the opposite side of the opposite side of the same coin. $10 to $12 pre-sale. What kind of numbers do you get?
Right,
Not a lot. I'm
No.
telling you
Even
straight.
might
if
be
you
some
sell
pre-sale.
tickets, doesn't mean they're
I
putting a
had
body in the door for each ticket.
One lineup that we used to be called Exit, and then transitioned to Infernal Opera. We had at one time 3 band members who lived in the same town in the Lehigh Valley. We played in that town. Combined, those 3 people drew, 3 band members drew 5.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, that's
Oh my goodness. That's
5.
good.
Now, and it's look. I'm not shooting on my ex bandmates. What I'm saying
Wow.
is, people don't want to buy tickets,
Right.
and I'll tell you straight up, I've
Especially
sold.
when they can go down the street to another bar and watch somebody else for $5.
Right.
Or nothing.
And
Right, right.
the bands that I normally represent, we don't even do ticket sale shows. I mean, we try not to. The whole
But once your
ticket
numbers are
sale
there, you
thing
don't have to do
makes you
ticket
Right.
feel like
That's it.
But there
makes
is
you
an
feel like
option.
it's
Yeah.
getting
the numbers
numbers.
there.
I've bought
Your
2
tickets
tickets
are
in my
Really is.
life to a show. I've bought 2
curious.
tickets.
He and I have
ever.
talked about this and have been involved in a show that had happened where the promoter, we had to sell, I don't know, 10 or 15 tickets pre-sale at $10, but we got 85% of our money
Bingo.
back
There's the key.
right off the bat. So the
That's
other
a good
10 or
promoter.
15% that he capped, I'm sorry, the 20 or whatever it was, basically was covering his expenses to whatever he had to do to get in the venue. So, you know, it worked pretty well. And out of those 10 tickets, I passed them out to people I knew. This was actually in Atlantic City. And I knew 10 or 12 guys that actually came because they said, hey, I got tickets, come see us. And they were like, they were going nuts up in front of the stage, so it helped us bring everybody else in. And we walked
That's a
out of
good
there.
point, too. I
We
mean-
walked out of there with most of the money back in our pocket, plus we made more at the door.
Sales can
Right.
be, we've done shows at some ticket sale venues, and where you sit there and,
There you go.
Trock's
$1.
one of them, $15 a ticket, which you actually see supposedly you see 3, but $1 goes back into the truck.
Yeah.
You actually end up getting 2, so you sell 150 tickets. So when you do the math of that, 150 tickets,
That's
$2,500
really
or so.
But I mean,
Right.
on
And
a
that's
smaller scale.
$2,500 at the end of the night. You're gonna hand me $100. I
Right.
handed you
Something's
$2,500.
wrong with this picture, you know?
I'll stay in my fucking basement.
I hear you.
Aside from the
But
fact
the upside to that,
Swing my hammer,
the
it's like-
upswing to that is, when you do go just ticket sales, you do it for a national, that actually builds your bios and your stats, which gets you into a bigger, better venue where you don't
Yeah,
sell
but how
tickets.
many of us have been
I
part
mean,
of
in
that?
theory, that's how it should
They want
work.
my
I
band
would-
to open up for, when we did Comedy
I would
Clubs,
be
my band pulled
more than happy
250
to.
ticket sales, and the national pulls maybe 40 people in the door. So you would, to cover their.
Did they do
guar-
any kickbacks on?
To cover
No.
their guarantee.
Right,
or
that's
the
exactly
band-
what it is.
The bands freaking bust their asses.
The bottom line is
You,
this.
you, your ticket sale fiasco, where you sell 50 tickets on a Tuesday night show, you get $1 per $15 ticket, and you got to play 3 songs. I mean.
I know we're doing a show, it's
Yeah, the-
$10,
People are gonna come to
$5.
see you for half
the
an
fact
hour.
of the matter
Our
is
last
this.
truck show
for
was,
half
I
an
forget who
hour,
was in the
yeah.
book of that. It was a guy
That
a
don't
guy
make
named
sense.
Rich from out in the Harrisburg area. And the national that we were opening for was Suicide City. We ultimately, it was $10 a ticket. We sold all 50 tickets, as did the other 3 locals. So you had 3 local acts there, sold 50 tickets apiece, $1,500.
How long did you set with your set?
Probably about 40, 45 minutes.
That's a good set time.
Not a bad set time, but we
That's
also
not
got $1 per ticket. So all that for $50.
Yeah.
You know,
I know my guys just like I said.
I
think about Monday to Friday, so I don't know if
I know
that's
if I
the
just
job.
20
Part of a
minutes instead of
national
15.
show. I mean,
Right.
it's-
Yeah,
it's
to me,
a-
the national.
now
that's
the
just-
national act that played that
That's a
night
joke.
sold about 12 tickets.
That
For
whole-
the national.
I know, it's frustrating.
That's a
It's
joke.
like, come on.
No, the reason we have to sell
15,
tickets
pre-sale or through the door?
No.
for a national
Pre-sales.
show is because the national act don't have the ass to put people in there by themselves. So how are they going
And
to?
they have the secret guarantee.
That's why I
you
don't
know.
know.
Right. So it's like the
Yeah.
booker or the venue pays $7,500 for this package. Where's that money coming from? It's not coming from hey, the national act XYZ is coming to play at our venue. Because people are going, oh, that's nice, and 11 people will show up. So what you got to do is you got to front load it with locals who then do all the footwork to pay for the national that no one's fucking coming to see anyway.
And do all the promotion.
And they live like 5
So
or 7 orders.
so I'll tell you what, why don't you do it this way? Put the national act on
Crazy.
second or third.
Yeah.
I agree.
Let the people
We
who sell the
worked,
damn
we worked our
tickets.
ass off to get into a better Philly club lately.
Yeah, it's
And,
worth it.
and we're in, and we have to go Tuesday night, go on at like 10 o'clock, and have so many people there to get a Friday night gig, which is when they do it. So we had 35 people come, and she was really impressed and all that. And I'm like, wow, she handed me money. I'm not used to that.
That's a
And
good
it wasn't
deal.
a lot of money,
But
but
still, that's a
And that
good
was
deal.
the
And the
Yeah,
the
concept is
Friday,
good.
here's the deal, the
Yeah.
Friday
concept.
night that we're supposed to play there, it's like we're on, we're off, we're on, we're off. Okay, a spot opened up, I can get you on there. So I look, we get on after midnight, right?
Oh, geez.
No big deal, I'll play whenever. And, oh, by the way, you gotta sell 10 tickets at $10
Oh,
a
they
piece.
pulled that shit on you there now.
I'm like, all right,
Yeah, I heard about that.
not a problem, but,
What venue?
oh, and by the way, this is our,
Who's
taking
the
a break
tango?
from original music for a while. So, this is our last show for a while, so let's get it packed in here and all that. And it's not the booking agent per se, it's the club.
It's
Yeah.
the venue.
And it's a great place
Like
to play, it's got a
Rock
great
Rock's
sound
Great
system.
sound
Great
system.
stage, the Whiskey Tango. And it's,
But are Sinner Saints playing with you that night? Are Sinner
No,
Saints playing?
no.
See, there's a house band there. You play there on a Saturday night. They
There's
guarantee
some
you
other
do
bands I've
guarantee.
seen Michael play with at some of your shows are there, and it doesn't matter. Like, we'll play wherever, whenever. It doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, it's. Oh, by the way, you got to sell tickets, and all right. Well, when are you going to give me them? Because the gig's next Friday.
Yeah.
I don't have them in my hand yet. Wait, can you come play? And then it was. Can you bring your drum kit and put it there before the first act at 5:45?
So they
And then we're going on after midnight,
This is a
and I'm
bad
like, well,
idea.
I ain't the drummer, but you can ask him personally. And I'm like, they don't have a house kit. So it's like, he's like, absolutely not. He's like, I'm not being a dick, but he's like, that's a vintage kit, 85-time kit. I got a lot of money into it, and I don't want anybody beating the shit out of it.
If you're doing a big national show like that, does that also mean that in that area you probably shouldn't be booking anything else within a few months before or
Right,
after?
because people aren't
Exactly,
gonna come
because
to
then we
see
need
you.
those sales through
To
oversaturated.
do that, you're pretty much paralyzed
Right.
before that. Which
Yeah,
is
but
like-
here's
But that's 20
the
minutes
rub.
from my
Same
house.
venues just
Here's
had
the
a
rub.
huge
And then,
battle
you know,
of
we
the
have to
bands.
do
I
one, so we're
absolutely
breaking
agree
my
with you.
balls.
They
Like,
just had a
well,
huge
when you're
battle
gonna
of the
play
bands
close? Well,
at
here we
same
are.
venue.
You know?
Battle of the
Yeah,
bands,
so
whoever
right.
wins gets to open up for the national. Then the national show comes along. Oh, by the way, since you already won the battle of bands,
Yeah,
so
the
we
Battle of
want
Bands
you to
is
sell
all
another
crap,
20-some tickets on top of that. And the national act that was playing there, the Misfits, by the way, had just played a week before that at a
Asylum.
venue within
I
with
booked that.
Asylum,
A mile
and
and
they
a
were
half
playing
away, yeah.
a week later
Yes.
or
The
3 days.
Misfits just
3
need to
days
die.
later in
Stereo,
Philadelphia.
but
So we're talking about the same national act is playing 3 times within the 2-week
Yeah.
period in the same locality.
Right.
And,
Right. If
and
the
then, and
national
then they're
is
going to take
playing-
33% of your merch sales on top.
And we had a contract that was the only North American date when I booked that. And that was the selling point
They
to
wanted,
have the draw.
They wanted Suicide Puppets to pay $250 just to open up.
No.
So you're paid to play.
Now I made a
Gotcha.
feature ad.
Mike?
Yeah, I was
They
asked to
are-
do a buy-in.
Yeah.
And I said no. And then 2 days before the show, they called me up and said, "Hey, you want to do it? We got the spot." I was like, "No." It's cool. I can absolutely relate with what you're talking about, where you want the national to have a dedicated window. You know, 50 or 100 mile radius.
Feature is always the
Right.
way to go. 'Cause then you can
However,
get numbers.
you know, you don't want to. We don't want to put the same, shall I say, chains on the local bands, because here's the thing. Adrian and I have talked about it. Bob and I have talked about it. It does make sense to make sure that the local bands do not essentially overplay in certain areas. However, if I'm only getting $2 for a pre-sale, I don't give a shit who the national act is. I don't give a shit.
Why should it?
But
And I don't
it
give a
is-
shit
but
if
it
the
is your
book,
bio,
and,
it helps
and
you
I don't
know
give a
the
shit that the
stats.
venue or the booker says to me,
Does.
you can't, we don't want you to play because we need to draw here. You're giving me $2 a ticket.
Yeah. Yeah. it
I'm gonna
is.
play
It's
as
a
many
numbers
shows as I
Stock
can
market.
so that I can, first of all, because I want to fucking play.
Right.
And number two, because it's not helping my freaking numbers to play with the national act because no one's coming to see him anyway except the people I sell tickets to. And number three, if I'm only getting $2 a ticket, I'm going to play as many shows as I can
To make a little bit
to
more.
get as many $2.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, I'll play as many fucking shows as I want. And if you don't like it, then get somebody else. And here's the thing.
Whoop to that.
It is no problem because if I don't sell the tickets, the booker's gonna find somebody who will.
Oh yeah.
So it's
Oh,
not
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and now there's the conundrum. It's like, we know what the issue is, but a lot, and I wrote about this on my article on Adrian's page, Hellraiser Music Group, which is basically saying we know what the issue is, but the approach we have to solving the issue is not going to solve the issue. I can't say I'm not selling tickets, Bob, because Bob's going to turn to Mike, and Mike's going to go, I'll sell fucking tickets.
Done.
And Michael say, you know,
it's-
screw you.
it's,
I'm with, and Michael say, I'm with Michael. Screw you, Bob. And what's Bob going to do? He's going to turn to Adrian and say, Adrian, and Adrian's going to go, I'll sell the tickets.
Right,
And if
so it doesn't
Adrian tells him to go
matter.
get fucked,
Necessary
he'll go
evil.
right down the line until somebody,
Like he always
Says,
does.
okay, I got it.
People.
somebody's
You
going to
also
sell the
find
tickets.
that, too,
Where it goes.
the bands that are selling the tickets are the ones working the hardest. They're the ones out there selling tickets. So you start running into a problem where the band that says, all right, we'll take the gig, we'll sell the tickets. We'll take the gig, we'll sell the tickets. They get tired, but you
They
know,
hustle.
they
hungry.
hustle,
Right.
but they
They're
also, I
hungry,
mean, you
they're
get to the
hustling
point where you get a little worn out. I mean,
Absolutely.
But then after they do that for maybe even a year or do some buy-ons, then they're ready to do their own tour because their reverb numbers are great, their Polestar numbers are great. Venues will then book
is
them.
that really?
Let me tell you
Almost
something.
definitely.
I'll be
Like,
Why
I'll,
don't you
then-
talk a minute
like
about
I,
Polestar?
most of the booking agents
Polestar
I
and
talk to
reverb
here
is
don't
the
look at
most
that at all.
important thing a band can have.
What's
When,
that?
when you don't utilize that really, really hurts your stats.
She's talking about Polestar. Is that what
Polestar
you're saying?
and
Polestar.
Reverb Nation.
Well, Reverb Nation is. We got one.
Reverb Nation
You'd be
is much, much better.
You'd be
Reverb
surprised
Nation is
how many
connected to
people are not
Facebook,
familiar
so-
with Polestar.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
You want to
Polestar,
Polestar?
okay, is what the booking agents are of good venues or national venues, your higher level venues
1 and 2.
will
One,
use.
tier 1 and
It
2.
is a stock market game. When you play, let's say a room that's 150 capacity, and you fill it, say 3/4 or a half, that makes your stats look good. But say you're in a venue that's like 1,500, and you have those numbers, so it pulls your stats down.
You have 200.
You report right. So when you play those with shows with nationals, like Misfits or whatever, get featured with them. If your name is on the marquee, if your name is on the ticket, you're entitled to the Polestar numbers.
And that's polestar.com. So anytime
Yes.
there's a national show, let's say you play a show with Lizzie Borden or something, you go
Yes.
to polestar.com. It reports how many people showed up for the gig. It reports how many people showed up
Right.
for each band.
So
and
when you
what
go
the
outside your
numbers
outside your
are.
area,
So
the
if
venue
you-
looks
if
and
you
says,
went
"Wow,
on about that
they got
kitty
pulled,
show
they
you
got
guys
draw."
played, you would be mentioned in
book you.
the report.
Do you see a lot of bands coming from outside your area with
those
with
websites-
I
good
mean, all
news that
my
actually
bands
close?
sell like over 100 tickets.
Those
All my
websites.
the ones I deal with, and all.
I
of
mean,
them
the
are
outside
full.
ones, like your Harrisburg area.
Yeah.
So you book a band from, say, South Jersey somewhere, band like us or something like that.
Sure.
And we'll sell you 100 tickets here in a week. Yeah, it's not a big deal. But I go out to Harrisburg. Who am I selling 100 tickets to?